Heyo, Patrick.
How are we getting on, buddy? So we have a guest today.
We have our friend Jack Smith from London, England, activist. And
nice to meet you guys.
Welcome to the show, Jack. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, very well, mate. And thanks for having me.
Well, we're going to talk about something that affects you actually in London. We're going to be discussing Brexit. We got a video we're going to be reviewing, and we're going to want your input. Sound good?
Let's go.
All right, let's get hot on this. You ready to go, Patrick?
I am.
Got your wine ready in the mug?
No wine today. No wine today. No.
Oh, a sober Irishman. Jack, you're in for a treat. He's actually going to be on point today.
Hey.
It's critical. It's all critical.
Here we go.
June 23rd, 2016. The referendum on European Union membership has been voted on, and Brexit has passed. The United Kingdom will be leaving the EU, and its supporters are ecstatic. But be careful what you wish for, because Brexit might have long-term devastating consequences for the United Kingdom's stability.
So have you seen a stability issue out there, Jack?
This is 2016, right? Like, we're looking at the effects of it.
The effects now, right? So has there been instability and issues as far as Brexit passing? How does it affect you in London?
Initially, I don't think any of us really noticed a major difference because life went on, right? But in the last, I don't know, 3-4 years, things have changed a lot. I don't really know if there's any level of control personally within our government. It seems to be a bit of a shambles at the moment, to be honest.
So things have either accelerated or exacerbated, and not in a good direction.
Yeah, you could say that. It's definitely not the time of prosperity at the moment. It seems quite a time of regression.
Right. What are you noticing from Ireland there, Patrick? Anything that the UK Brexit thing has caused issues as far as your border there with Northern Ireland?
Well, our open border has always been, it's always been a point of contention. But lately it's a lot of migration from Northern Ireland down to Southern Ireland. A lot of Africans coming through France, then go to UK, and then UK kind of ships them over to us through Northern Ireland, because we technically are the closest EU country that won't fight back.
So you get economic migrants that push your borders and then cause
quite a lot.
Negative impact on your GDP. We had another episode where we talked about that too, like the cost of not only the migrants that make it, but also their initial litter of children causing massive amounts of debt. And
second, third generations unemployment and everything else that goes with that.
The social welfare system gets totally thrown out of whack. Jack, how does that social welfare function work with?
Well, I mean, but you hit it nail on the head. It's almost like dangling candy to the rest of the world that, hey, come and get everything for free and don't work a day in your life, or take everything on the basics. But you have to, from their perspective, they'll look at £200 a month, which I think is, last time I was on social credit, was what you'd get a month, which just seems mad to live on. That seems like a lot of money, but then it's a trap. Once you get here, everything is expensive. So there's
a lot more over here. A lot more over here. Yeah, so we're more of a tempting target as well.
Sure. All right, let's get this rolling again, boys.
In fact, could it lead to the end of one of the world's oldest democracies? Here's how Brexit could wind up destroying the United Kingdom. There was a lot of time to debate the consequences of Brexit, and many people tried to stop it in its tracks, including an attempt to topple the Prime Minister that nearly led to an unlikely coalition with a controversial Labour leader. But in the end, the UK left the EU on January 31st, 2020, about 2 months before the world got completely turned upside down by a pandemic, lockdowns, and everything else associated with 2020. So that makes separating Brexit's consequences from the effects of everything else a little tricky.
So how did COVID-19 play into the Brexit stuff there, Jack? Is that why it wasn't quite so noticed, or what was your perspective on the ground there?
Yeah, I think you're right there. Like, realistically, people, I think diehard nationalists probably took Brexit as being this really strong thing, and then COVID comes along and everyone's lost 3 years of their life and are concentrated on a lot of different things, or it's concentrated on the same things in an extreme way because they're isolated. So I think during that time,
did it cause an issue with medical assets on the ground as far as what was needed to keep people safe from COVID-19, as far as its 0.1% death rate and a lot of comorbidities for the elderly and stuff like that. Was there an issue with the medical establishment?
There was. Like, the nice thing, I never thought I'd say this, but the nice things about COVID are like the rallying of people together, like the sense of community during that time. People who did a lot of our shop closed our set building place because there was no more work, but we ended up going into production to make masks for hospitals just to try and help out. So a lot of different businesses all over the UK and London played their own individual role towards helping towards COVID, but again, you know, a lot of different views on COVID and the effects of it. Or what we can definitely say is that it was the perfect period of time for implementing a massive amount of change, which we now see like in very, very clear light. Like everything post-COVID and being released back into the world after signing away a lot of our liberties without even realizing it. Now we're seeing the effects of it.
Right. So like America's Patriot Act, you guys gave up a lot of civil liberties to effectively gain a safety net that in the end did not turn out to cause any kind of no safety at all.
Not at all. Like, and actually invasion of home privacy. Plenty of stories of people were protesting for the right things. Let's put it that way, or at least having the freedom of speech to believe in the things they want to and try and dialogue those with other people. But we're now seeing some people being arrested for it. That certain things are now hate speech. You know, conversations aren't necessarily conversations anymore, but arguments against each other,
right?
Rather than looking at both sides.
It's roughly equivalent to Bill C-16 that came out of Canada, the one that Jordan Peterson was speaking against, right? So if you commit what is hate speech based on someone's opinion, you get fined, and if you don't pay the fine, then you get imprisoned. So functionally, you can get imprisoned for saying a thing someone else finds objectionable, and that's no way to have a real conversation to move any kind of concept forward. You can't manipulate the concept without being jailed. That means you don't have free speech. And it looks like, what, 3,000 people a year are getting incarcerated, and then they're kicking out actual felonious type criminals to the street to house people who said mean things on social media, which is horrific.
This is all first wave change. I mean, I would beg to say that we have to look at all of this and everything that's happening from the migrancy, from the digital visas and everything as the Chinese model of social credit score, and in tying with a lot of digital credit currency, things to West organization stuff. It all points towards massive periods of change. So you have to the only way you can get people to change is by signing away these laws themselves. They have to find some way of signing away some sort of their life to rid themselves of a problem. But governments are way more intelligent than we give them justice for. They're definitely not necessarily out there for our benefit. They're more in for the benefit of the country, if anything, but those benefits may not align with what's good for society.
Right. Well, again, you have the problem like Ireland does, where your constituency says, we don't want this, we don't want this, we don't want this. And it doesn't matter if you have a Labour government or a Tory government, they continue to strip. Yeah, they continue to strip you of rights, right? And
go ahead. Sorry, I mean, I've not voted in I don't even know how long, 7-8 years. I stopped protesting in that period of time. I remember the last protest I went to, I stood against the protesters, backed up against the police, being like, why are you fighting the civil servant? Why don't you actually just sit on the ground and actually do something that, you know, actually will have to cause many police officers to get involved, and not just push you and rally you into an area, but actually drag you out of it. But people don't want that. People want their own, everyone wants their own sense of self-truth and what they believe in, but we don't look far enough between each other to look at what works. Us leaving the EU is just a stepping stone in a much greater, what feels like a much greater plan towards, I don't know. Hey, I don't know. Feels nefarious, but like it's happening. That's all I know.
There's 60 to 66 million people in the United Kingdom, right? And that's a pretty massive block of people. You have more people in that small space than does Canada at 40 million, right? So that's a lot of concentrated people. And to maintain a measure of control, and understand that London is the most videoed city on the planet, right?
It is.
Every corner has a camera. Every structure has a camera that's pointing down. Like, they know where you are. If they want to find you, they will find you, which doesn't make sense when you have these sorts of gangs that are performing these heinous acts, like, you know where they are, you know what they're doing. Why aren't they taken to task, right? It just seems very strange.
And the reason for that, more than likely, is my whole hypothesis on this is my point of view as someone who's lived in London and looking at the change of things, and both from a political, social aspect, is you flood a country with enough migrancy to the point where its nationals hate it, and to the point where they want to take action, and they might sign away liberties like a digital visa. I will not be signing or doing anything like that. I'm not jabbed and I'm still alive. I've chosen every other path of some sort of freedom along the way, and it's probably cost me quite a lot by trying to do so, in whatever rebellious stance that's been. But this all is just us signing away our liberties, right, so that they can have their Chinese model, where your phones,
right,
everything's monitored.
Patrick and I were discussing, so the Order of St. George and the Yukon Jack. When you fly those things, bad things happen, which means you're in an occupied country functionally. When you cannot fly your own nationalistic zeal, right, and say, hey, I'm a proud member of this country, I am British, this is amazing. As soon as those things go up and they get immediately taken down, it means your sovereignty has been stripped from you as a people, and you are occupied, right? So. And
it's good. No wonder so many people are fighting against it, but you still have the other side who's fighting against them because they see it as a racist slant.
Right.
But realistically, that's where this whole full-on liberal movement has swayed enough of the population to give away their liberties, to look at things like their own flag, their own pride, their community, and fight against them for something that is, I don't want to be rude, but flooding a country full of migrants and giving them full social care, and it seems mad when we have soldiers on the street who are ex-British Army dying on the street, dude. Like,
right. The United States has much of the same issue with our veterans not getting resources, but economic migrants taking the lion's share.
It's insane.
There are those who have served our country and they deserve better than what they're getting right now, right?
Yeah.
It's bad, dude. It's heartbreaking there.
Definitely. All right, let's get back to the video.
But there have definitely been consequences. The main goal of Brexit was to gain back that can-do, self-sufficient British spirit that got the country through the wars. And while some might argue that it's worked, it also meant cutting Britain off from a much larger network of support. The EU is made up of 27 countries, all of which have an agreement that allows free travel between member states, as well as favorable trade terms. And the UK is now outside looking in. It might have seemed like a great idea at first, but it wouldn't be long before the UK started feeling the negative effects. And almost 3 years in, the consequences keep building.
So now we're 5 years in, and the restriction of movement has caused some difficulties, but there doesn't seem to be a restriction of movement from Northern Ireland into the Republic. So the UK is just dumping on the tricolor flag, just dumping, right? So there seems to be freedom of movement from Western Europe, France, and Belgium for the most part into the UK. And the ones the UK doesn't want, or the ones that move on from the £200 a month to what, 11, how many euros is it a month, Patrick? If you're on social welfare, roughly?
It works out $244 a week. So, but then there's other benefits on top, like there's metal card, and there's rent allowance as well. There's other allowances, so right, it can be very.
£200. The euro is more than the pound now, so they go from £200 to over 1,000 euros in Ireland, plus medical, plus housing, and it means that Irish citizens are not getting housing, right?
Like they estimated a family of 4 on benefits. It was last summer I was reading this article. Family 4 in Ireland is roughly, between social welfare receipts and everything else, about 55,000 a year.
Oh, right. And there's a lot of them. And that doesn't mean, that's not even the, was it 150 to 200,000 Ukrainians you guys brought in?
Oh, just over 100,000 Ukrainians.
Okay. So those ones, the Ukrainians seem to be wanting to assimilate and becoming part of Irish culture, but the economic migrants, the ones that aren't really...
For the most part, yes, with the Ukrainians. But
right.
Quite a lot of the Ukrainians that came in weren't exactly fleeing war either.
Right. Oh,
there's been a debate around that at the moment.
Right. We did an
Kind
episode,
of, now that we're a couple of years into this, we're kind of figuring out that about 20% of them were just chancing their arm. Is the best way to put it.
Well, that's 80%, which is better than what other countries are providing you.
Yeah.
We actually did an episode, Jack. There was a Somali migrant in an asylee residence who actually stabbed a Ukrainian migrant who was 17 as well to death.
Yeah.
A fellow who was supposed to have left at least 8 to 10 months prior, but was there long enough to commit a murder in asylee housing. It's like they're just not getting them physically moved. So, yeah. Labor shortages are an issue as well because you have more people, and with more people, a smaller percentage of the people that are working. Economically, that's not good either. And it's not skilled labor. You're going to need some unskilled labor, but you're going to need more skilled labor in a more industrialized space. So we'll get back to the video here.
For one thing, the UK has seen a significant increase in labor shortages. This is because many foreign workers fill jobs around the EU, and after Brexit, they now have to get permission to work in the UK. Getting a work visa can be time-consuming, and what makes more sense, applying to work in one country or working to apply in a network of 27 countries? That makes the UK a distant second choice for those looking to work in Europe. This has led to vacancies at the local pub. Horrors! But it's also led to many job openings in critical fields like healthcare because the foreign nationals just aren't coming. And that plays a key role in another critical area. It's easy.
Have you noticed an issue with medical care in the NHS there, Jack? What does that look like since Brexit?
What happened? My partner dropped the motorbike on her foot and we went to A&E. We were in and out there, and I don't know, it was like 4 hours, something like that. It's still. I mean, I can't say anything bad about the NHS. I'm never going to. It's a service that provides to us a free medical health care, and it always has. I have been in and out of hospital like 4 or 5 times, and I've had wait times up to 6 hours before, like in A&E. And you know, I'm just grateful that it's there.
What's A&E?
You gotta tell me. A&E, accident emergency. Yeah, accident. Hey, that's what we
yeah, we're about the same wait times over here as well. 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6 on a busy night.
So here in the United States, I'll be between 2 and 8 hours, depending if I've stubbed my toe or if I have a trauma. Right? If I have a gunshot wound, I will be seen immediately and tended to. Right? But I'm more talking about, let's say you need a podiatrist, or let's say you need a specialist care of some sort. Right? So
you pay for it, dude.
Right. Okay. So
it's NHS only provides you a certain level of care. Like if you need your root canal, for example, that's not covered. I'm just going into dentistry.
Well, that's dental. Dental's a whole different animal, and we all know that.
I know. I mean, for medical, it's just it's what you get. Do you know what I mean? It depends on what you're going in for. It's hard to say if it's good or bad. I'm just grateful I have it.
Right.
Yeah, our medical care system is slightly different over here. It's very much like the British model, but for the most part, if it's a serious procedure, the state will cover most of it.
You go into a booking, because we know, obviously, I've had a couple of hernia surgeries before, one when I was young and one when I was older. And one when I was young, I don't remember, but I remember it's just being pretty seamless. You go in, you have your operation, it was great care. This must have been like 15, 20 years ago or whatever. And when I went the second time, it took the wait time to have this surgery because it's not a serious injury, for example. It's not causing you critical care. It's just very, very uncomfortable and a bit embarrassing to have for such a long time. I think I had it for like 2 years. It took years to get this done. Like the wait queue was ridiculous. So yes, it's definitely the system. It must be overloaded because they can't, there's a lot of patients and new patients being admitted, and I think it's sometimes quite hard.
Your medical establishment is overloaded to where was it a hiatal or inguinal?
Inguinal.
All right, so an inguinal hernia is not the best. It's a bad thing that can lead to other kind of medical issues, and it allows you not to have a prosperous life while that's going on.
I wore one of those straps that they don't recommend that you wear, but it was the only way that I could keep it pressed in the whole time and deal with a normal life
and work and go about doing your things. So it would seem to me, by you saying that the medical establishment is overwhelmed. Not talking negatively, but that it is in fact overwhelmed. But
and that wasn't recently.
Right,
that was at least 2 years ago or whatever.
Right. So, but when it comes to point of service, once you get there, things run functionally and well, right?
Yeah. It depends. Life threatening, you're gonna get seen. Something that's not life threatening, it's rolling the dice, brother.
Yeah, you're on the list, and that's it. Same here.
Bring a movie on your phone. Make sure you got a book. A blanket, maybe a cot bed. I remember having stomach poisoning at one point and lying on the floor of the hospital for like 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, waiting to be seen and have an IV for saline because I was just so incredibly sick with food poisoning. The wait time has always been a thing, but it's about whether or not it's critical because they don't want deaths on their records, but making someone wait another couple of hours, you're just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly the same. Exactly.
If I imagine America, if I'm paying for it, they're like, "Hi, here's your service. You have your service."
That's because you're eating that suspect takeout, bud.
I can't even remember. You're right. It was dodgy East London food when I was living up there. Totally my fault. All on me. I regret every.
You could have just made beans and toast in the house, Jack. You'd have been just fine.
Crumpets, beans on toast, cups of tea, all the classics. Marmite on bread, anything beige. Yeah, totally.
Nice.
I think I might have tried something experimental like Chinese food. That probably did it.
Don't tell me you got one of those mystery meat meals.
I can't remember, brother. I just a long time ago. This is a story for an older version of me. Nowadays, I got a brick stomach and I eat more chili than I know what to do with. So,
man, we're gonna invent the chili cook-off. You're just gonna have to fly 8,000 miles to get it. All right, here we go.
Fantastic! I can't wait for you to send me my ticket, mate.
I'm not dropping 5,000 euros for you to have the chili out here in California. All right, but here we go.
Yeah.
See to make jokes about British food. Mushy peas, pudding made from blood. But Britain does have a thriving agricultural sector that can keep the country fed through the year. Farmers often simply don't have the staff to harvest all their crops, and that leads to harvests being wasted, which leads to farms going bankrupt and empty shelves at the supermarket. Industrial farms often employ up to 3,000 workers per harvest season, many of them from countries in Eastern Europe, and the lack of staff is killing their ability to supply Britain with food. Britain might have been able to fulfill some of its food needs domestically, but it has and still does import much of its food from abroad. In fact, very short-lived Prime Minister Liz Truss shocked her party conference when she informed them that the UK imports 2/3 of its cheese from abroad.
You into cheese there, Jack? Was that a problem for you?
Liz Truss. I'm more triggered by seeing a picture of Liz Truss.
You're triggered. You're triggered. Okay, well, let's move.
Really?
We're going to move the video forward. We'll get Liz Truss off the screen. Ready? Here we go.
Yes,
oh, nope, just can't do it. Just can't see Liz Truss on the
screen. Oh, God, Jesus. How long? It's like a week?
She wasn't there. She was there, what, a couple of weeks at most?
Like weeks? Are you kidding me?
Wow.
That's what if you're looking at a time scale of how the degradation of our from Churchill, who was this, supposed to be this brilliant man, stoic, cigar, all the way down the line to Boris Johnson, bumbling fool.
Barry. Barry.
At least he was kind of humorous to watch, but everything preceding it has been a joke.
I've seen Liz Truss on the podcast circle, and she's a former prime minister. I'm like, man, is 2 weeks really? Are you really the prime minister?
It's like, on her LinkedIn, she's able to put it. She was there for 2 weeks. Like she's technically
I just
technically.
I just wish that your boy two-tier Kieran only lasted for 2 weeks.
Actually, come to think about it, if your term is only 2 weeks, you can't really mess much up. If you look at all the people who've tried to stay longer, they do more mistakes. Right. Probably actually one of the cleanest records for one of our prime ministers.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm not dealing with this.
You barely get time to sit down and organize a desk.
Literally. I don't know. Now she's in the podcast circle and not rejected from society.
She had what? She had less than half a dozen cabinet meetings or something small like that, didn't she?
Yeah, she failed all the way upward. She did great. Let's get back to it.
Really a disgrace, because you can't have a stuffy politicians' conference without some cheese. But the simple act of importing food has now become much more challenging due to Brexit. Under EU laws, tariffs and inspections were largely minimal. But now every import and export deal has to be renegotiated. What's more, the government wants to impose new import controls, which could make accommodating for the farming shortages even trickier. But this isn't the only thing made trickier by Brexit. Travel in the EU sounds strange to most people living outside.
The food situation, as far as going to the grocery or the supermarket or anything like that, are you noticing any strange things on the shelves or price hikes or anything like that, Jack?
Right. I mean, inflation has been ridiculous. Like overall, like you just have to learn to survive with the price increase and find a job with the price increase to by the side of it. It's the only way to survive at the moment, realistically.
But you gotta find your regular job plus a side hustle.
And how much have goods gone up by? 20-30% or?
Oh yeah, easily. Wow. I couldn't tell you. I just it's just an increase in price for things. It's definitely not what it used to be. The bus is not £1.50 like it used to be back in the day. That's for sure.
Wow.
The £10 a day on travel, for example, to go to work and back, that's £50 a week. That's £200 a month.
Yeah.
So a lot of money, like to be using on a very crowded service.
We heard that there is now a like a cross London tax if you drive across town.
Oh yeah, it's been here for ages.
All right, talk to me about that.
ULEZ, ultra low emission zones. So the idea being reduce carbon in London, make sure London's a very prosperous green area, but obviously it's just a taxation on cars, right? They introduced the electric vehicles. Now electric vehicles are getting taxed on it too. So
that's like when they say tax the rich and then everybody gets taxed. Got it. No
wonder Sadiq Khan can't answer a single question in any of his, dare I call them, interrogations or interviews that he has, all these parliamentary things.
Richie Sunak?
Sadiq Khan. No, Rishi is our prime minister at the moment, isn't he? I can't remember.
Keir Starmer at the moment.
Keir Starmer, yeah. Oh, useless. No, Sadiq Khan, isn't it? Mayor of London.
Yeah.
It's not no one. In this guy, he's useless. Absolutely. No.
Did you see the United States has decided in Seattle and the city of New York to elect socialist mayors? Like, it's going to get real exciting here in about 6 months. We're going to find out how that trick works with excess taxation and such. That's going to be great. We're going to be just like London. It's going to be great.
The funny thing is that everyone thinks that London is this amazing place. I mean, it really isn't. I can tell you, I was born here, and I'm quite privileged to be brought up in a middle class area. I had a nice house and a garden that we lived in. I'm very, very grateful for. I definitely didn't live in the poorer end of the scale, but didn't have everything. I had mum, whenever I asked mum for something, it was like, right, you're old enough to get a job. I think the first job I had was shoveling shit at a stables, like £5 an hour. It's like, fucking money, dude.
That'll humble you real quick.
Yeah, I've had a my CV, if I did everything, would be ridiculous, but I'm definitely going to do my last 30 years of employment or whatever.
See, my first job was working in like a scrapyard, but my second job was I worked at a farm out in the country.
You get this, right?
Yeah, and well, I was doing field stuff, but I was mainly like running tractors and stuff. But then after that, they sent me to the slaughterhouse with the sledgehammer to do the work of the Lord in the field. Yeah. Oh wow, that was because as a guy, I'd never seen that much blood in my life, and I was like, oh, this is insane. Okay,
these are the experiences that shape I don't know, at least my generation, which I guess now would be millennials or whatever. I don't care. I'm in the back of the 80s films. I remember my 90s. But I mean, I've lost, I think all those times we were holding on to dearly, like we were promised to, I just don't seem like options. And most of us as Brits, we're not proud to be British. Most of us. So the ones who are normally on the fringe, let's put it that way.
So understanding the house you grew up in, would you be able to afford a house equivalent to that yourself now?
When they bought it in 1970 or 60 or 70, it was like 250,000. It's now worth 2.5 million.
Oh, wow.
Well done, Mum. but don't want her to sell it, don't want her to move out of it. That's our family home, beautiful garden that she's worked in all those years. Like, she's happy being in there, you know, even though since my dad's passed, like, you know, she's alone, but she loves that place. Like, and part of my family, the more conservative side, like, sell it, move where they are, which is not that far away, but, you know, the rest of us, like, don't necessarily feel the same way. It's our family home, and as long as she's happy and supported, then she's okay, you know. But it's crazy to look at the difference in price, for example. Great on her, but to try and move into that area and buy a 2.5 million pound house.
Oh, right, for sure. That's not happening.
It's insane. No, it's insane. And what it would be bought by some guy, and I think originally it was flats, and it would be returned back into flats. That's what would happen to it. The irony of it, the full cycle of a whole family living a generation through it, it would probably be turned back into flats. Is just ironic.
Yeah, not every city is getting overrun with flats, not actually homes.
Very cheap, small flats. Like, we live in a 1-bedroom flat and in a very, 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 very migrant area. And initially, I don't mind. Like, very used to migrant nationals, but I don't ever feel particularly. So not like I walk down the street and feel scared at all, because I don't really feel scared when I'm in my own capital. But you don't necessarily feel the sense of community.
Right.
It doesn't feel like your community. It doesn't feel like many people are like, oh, good day. You know, a quintessential thing about being English, there's two things that really tell if you're good at queuing, and you know how to say sorry for everything. Absolutely everything.
You know, that's funny thing is that's actually very much the same way here.
Because we're polite. And the thing is, it's like the generations I remember, gents, like, you know, you bump into them, say, oh, sorry, mate, you know, excuse me.
But
all the real simple civil stuff, and it's lost.
Understand your ability to queue up and wait pleasantly for something is a sign of culture. Right? Because it's not who's the biggest fellow with the sharpest elbows that gets to the front of the line. Right, you stand back and you wait for your turn. Right, you wait for your turn. And then being apologetic, I think, is more British. Americans aren't good at that.
It's a very it's a very British thing. It's a very quintessentially British thing. We just absolutely everything, like everything. Bought something off someone. Oh, thank you. Oh, sorry. Yes, oh, thank you. That's what I love about and it's Canada. That's what I like about Canada. Is the time I visited there, it's this weird mix of English and Canadian feels, because you can walk down the street and see some random guy and be like, oh, morning, and they'll go, oh, morning, you know, which in America I wouldn't do, that's for sure. And in England, when you do that, no, probably someone look at you like, fuck you want. Actually,
but so the United States is actually a bunch of little countries on its own. Right, the South, the Northeast, the Midwest, the Rust Belt, the West Coast, the South continent. Well, it's a huge area, and we're willing to drive. Like, if I have a friend of mine who lives 2.5 hours away, I'll drive 2.5 hours, go hang out with that fellow for a while, and then we'll do whatever, and you know, but doesn't matter. You play tennis or whatever, just hang out, and then drive 3 hours.
I'm with you.
Right? Oh, I've driven from the middle of the state down to Los Angeles to go hang out with friends, you know, and literally in a day, leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, hang out for 3 or 4 hours, and drive back home. 6 hours, like on the road for 12 hours, to hang out with my friends for 3 or 4 hours because they're in Costa Mesa and they got something going. I was like, cool, I'll go have lunch. Literally 12 hours of driving to just have lunch. And people from your neck of the woods are like, you're insane. I'm like, well, I want to.
No, I get you. I'm totally with you there. Totally with you.
Yeah, I just drove across both of your countries to go visit with people, and then drive back across both of your countries to do the thing. So, all right, let's get back to the video.
Well, let's just say when you look at Ireland and you look at the UK, it is when the map zoomed in, it looks pretty big, but when you zoom out, it is not.
Yeah,
it is not. It is extremely small. And then you look at the population mass of the whole of Europe and where we are, it's fucking. I don't know what people are looking for here, but we're running out of whatever's left.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Of the Union. How did 27 independent countries agree to allow their citizens to travel across their borders without passport checks? Well, it took a lot of cooperation and trust. The UK may be an island, but the residents still crossed over frequently via a tunnel under the English Channel, which connected them to France via a high-speed train line. But the times, they are a-changin'. While the UK and the EU have maintained freedom of travel between the two, they are still allies and members of NATO after all. They're now considered different countries, and that means anyone who crosses across the English Channel via train should bring their passport and be prepared for more security checks. A minor complication, but one that could still put the damper on a vacation if a key document gets left behind. And if Brexit has brought about one thing, it's lines. Brexit seems...
Well, except for the line from Northern Ireland into the Republic, of course.
Except for that's different. That's part of our Good Friday agreement.
Right, but once Brexit happened, that thing should have been redone. And the problem is, would you say Sinn Féin? What are the other two?
Well, the Good Friday Agreement was backed by the United States as well as the UK and other members. So it's not as easy. Yeah, but it's not as easy as just suddenly getting rid of the line. We'd have to have a referendum, obviously, in place, and a whole different process.
Right, but if the UK leaves the EU, then that border becomes an actual border, and it should be more well maintained. That way, you would also end up with less migrant. I
think they did go around it, putting the border on the sea instead of actually on Northern Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Was to keep the Northern Ireland some way going is the best word to put it. Keep trade between Northern Ireland and South going.
Isn't Northern Ireland allowed to vote in your presidential elections for the Republic? Or is that just some hullabaloo?
They have an option if they want to pick up Irish dual citizenship, which they have an option to do, but very few of them do.
Right.
The younger generation do, but not the older generation in Northern Ireland. They have an option to become, apply for dual citizenship and then go through the whole process and do all that kind of thing.
Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, along with Sinn Féin, aren't they the ones that are allowed to do the negotiations for anything with the Good Friday Agreement?
It has to be Queen Stormont or Dáil, and obviously the UK.
Oh, so the Dáil would have to do something with that then?
Yeah, so all three parties would have to sit down and renegotiate those kind of.
Oh, because they're going to get together and agree on something now, right? Of course they are. Of course that's going to happen.
I think the UK at the moment is going through its own, as Jack was saying, its own economic woes.
Right.
And I think Northern Ireland is a big 20-odd billion a year. 20-odd billion a year to keep the Northern Ireland going.
That's pretty expensive.
But, yeah, will the UK keep that bill going? I don't know how they're going to afford in the future, to be honest.
Well, with the inflation and all that stuff, as Jack was saying, it's not going to be easy. All right, let's get back to it.
No, it's not.
You have meant more bureaucracy, more documents, and more delays, just about everywhere. This is the most common at the borders, and nowhere was it more obvious than in July 2022, when those trying to enter the country via the port of Dover found themselves waiting and waiting and waiting. While conservative politicians originally said there would be no major delays, the simple act of requiring passport checks soon snowballed into massive 6-hour waits. And it wasn't just at British ports. Suddenly, all those quick check lines that allowed British visitors to just sail through European passport checks were no more. And all ports around the European Union found themselves facing major delays as they had to check that British tourists were there legally and had plans to return. Yes, Brits heading abroad had better practice their stiff upper lip. But just about everyone is going to feel the impact of Brexit in some way. It's not just food-related imports and exports that have taken a big hit. In the first year after Brexit, it was estimated that exports to Europe fell by around 14%. It was partially due to COVID, but the impact has continued to be felt, and a big part of that is the increased fees, security, and paperwork that everyone has to deal with. That includes...
Hey, Jack, when you're trying to get stuff from Amazon or its equivalent, is there some difficulties or delays in that when you're in London?
Not necessarily, depending which market you're buying from. Like, do you mean as in, better example is eBay?
Okay.
When you buy something from Japan or from other countries, if it's over a certain amount, you will be hit with fees. That's been a thing for quite a long time, I think, as an import duty. But Amazon is a strong house. It's able to corner and cripple every part of the market. So I can really say.
All right, so they just bullet on through. It's just they bullet and it happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Multi-billion-dollar companies, they're able to get their product to the end game eventually.
All right. Well, it's because they want your euros or your dollars or your rubles or
pounds
your
and pounds.
Quid.
Deutschmarks. Deutschmarks. They
Why,
want the Deutschmarks.
Oh, please.
Don't all want more than $1. Don't be jealous.
I hope it doesn't go the way of the Deutschmark, because that would not. I don't know how many wheelbarrows I'm going to need to get.
Yeah, 50 wheelbarrows for a loaf of bread.
Oh, God, Jesus.
Welcome to Venezuela. Nice. All right, let's get back to it.
Countless small businesses which have found it more expensive than ever to send their goods abroad. Many longtime small businesses might decide to close their doors rather than try to compete in this brave new market, and will likely be replaced with either locally focused businesses or more likely multinational chains that are used to navigating the bureaucracy. And that has meant lasting issues for the economy. Part of the appeal of Brexit was that the United Kingdom could move away from the EU's costly fees and sharing arrangements, which were meant to boost the welfare of poorer countries with the help of wealthier ones like Britain and France. And the UK doesn't have to pay those fees anymore. But that might not be a positive. Since Brexit happened, the EU's gross domestic product has jumped by over 8%, while
Right, but the problem with that is there's serious deindustrialization in France and Germany, which is going to cause major issues, right? So that's going to be an issue with their growth, and that deindustrialization and their inability to provide appropriate power is going to be an issue. Like Volkswagen shut down a plant. They haven't ever shut down a plant in Germany since.
Yeah, they just move somewhere cheaper. But a lot of major industries do that. Wherever it's cheaper to manufacture something, they'll just go to. Multinational companies have no loyalty to any country.
But that's the problem, really. It's not really. I mean, I wanted to raise this earlier. If you want to look at jobs that are being taken, a huge impact market is delivery drivers, for example, which you can get a CBT on a one-day course. It costs you less than £200 to pay for. Once you have that, you're allowed to drive a 125cc motorbike on the road with pretty much very little instruction. So especially if you come from a country where the driving is a bit erratic, like in East Asia, and I've driven out there, I know exactly what it's like. You see that on the road here. These companies are basically have strong-armed job opportunities for a lot of illegitimate work. Because the amount of times I've seen people delivering food and it's not the person who's on the image, for example, and it's a blatant. Yeah, it's a really common thing to see. You'll be waiting for someone to deliver your food on Deliveroo or Uber, or show you a picture of their face. The person comes a totally different person, and when you see that, they're working illegally. They're probably illegal migrant, you know. And I mean, I've had a blatant
along with people who are provided jobs functionally upon landing, and it's that one-day course to drive the little 125cc bike to bring people grub. Okay. That makes sense. Which
is easy versus a very simple law change, which would just be, okay, if you want to deliver food as a job, you must have a full license, which you have to undergo much more training and testing to drive full big bike licenses. Right. And it costs like anywhere up to $2,000 to do everything, for example. Between $1,000 and $2,000. And I mean, I've got my license. It cost me a lot of money to do it, and I pay my road tax. And that's what drives me insane on the road, is because I see people who are misabusing the rules, being dangerous, doing crazy behaviors, running red lights and stuff like this. Yep. And then you have the insurance fraud that's going on at the moment in London. These are the core issues for me, really, because that affects our lives. Like I can't have comprehensive insurance on my motorbike, and it still costs me $2,600 a year. So if they come and steal it or try and take it, like, I'll get nothing for it.
So tell me about the insurance fraud. Is that the theft of your thing, or is that if you get into a bump?
No, that's different. It's more a bump, you know, and the payout pretty good. And you think about $10,000 to someone, that translates to maybe a home and a house in another country.
Right.
Like, I would do it. The country I'm going to do it in.
10 grand.
The other funny thing is, we still have exactly the same problem over here.
It's an epidemic.
Even if you have footage of them pulling the scam, they still get paid out. It's ridiculous.
What's funny is in the United States, 10 grand doesn't get me 2 months. Right? It doesn't get me 2 months. 10 grand is short. That's 6 or 7 weeks for me. Right?
For you, wouldn't it be like 1,600? It's more, but I don't know what the exchange rate for US dollars is.
Well, no, I just mean, so let's see, 10 grand US, was that 7,800?
Yeah, about 7,800 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll just say 8,000. Say 8,000 pounds doesn't get me through 2 months of living. Right. I need 12,500 or whatever for 2
that's
months.
why you got 6 guys living in tiny 1-bedroom flats, and all the it's illegality is everywhere. It is everywhere, from the top to the bottom, all the way across the UK. It's very obvious, and the problem is like, if you see, it's a bit like you see it every single day, the whole of your life, you can become very, very desensitized to it. So
especially when you see all these little scams going on.
Yep.
What are you supposed to do?
It's a hustle. It's a hustle. Yeah.
Everyone's hustling.
All right, we're gonna we're gonna do about 2 or 3 more minutes of this, and we're gonna call it. So let's see what else I got to say, and then we'll get it finished up. Here we go.
The UK's growth is less than 4%. That's well below expectations, and while much of this can be attributed to COVID, the country's trouble getting workers and exporting its products definitely isn't helping either. So Britain is making less money, but it might be spending more domestically too. Inflation is the word on everyone's minds right now. It seems like everything is costing more these days, from airline fares to grocery staples. Some people blame all the money going to help Ukraine fight off the Russian invaders. Other people blame corporate greed.
Wow. There's a lot of money that's going that way, and corporate greed is an issue too. But the inflation problem, just like in the United States and in Ireland, I think the UK is looking at it. You said it was at least 20 to 30% prices going up at your local grocery there, Jack?
What kind of, let me have a look here.
Research. We're doing research.
Yeah.
Look at this, Patrick. We got some research coming in from London, England. What do you got there, bud?
Well, let's see what Mr. Google tells us, right?
Oh, Google knows everything. JFGI. Just Google it, right?
10 years.
Here we go. Come on, Jack. Come on.
Over the last decade, roughly 2015 to 2025, UK inflation has seen significant shifts, starting low back in 2015, rising steadily, spiking dramatically to a 41-year high of 11% in October 22, but due to the cost of living pressures, then falling off to back about 3 or 4% late 2025. That's what it's saying. So it's about 11%.
But the grocery stores aren't going to charge less. You know what I'm saying? Like once a product gets to a certain price, and the people are used to paying, say, $1.380 for a loaf of bread or 18 eggs or whatever, right? It's not going to go back down. Like, there's not going to be a significant jump. It's like with fuel costs per liter or per gallon. Like, they're not going to go down significantly, right? In the United States,
saying 11%, Jack, over there, is it?
But I mean, that is what is being reported by Google.
Wow.
But understand that the money is also not worth as much as it was before either. So you have a weaker euro or a weaker pound that's going into a product that's gone up 11%.
What's our export, dude? Is it crumpet? No. I mean, what quintessentially being English, and everyone knows this joke, is the drive a German car, drink a Belgian beer, eat a Indian takeaway, watch an American TV show, listen to music on their Japanese stereo system. You know, what do we export? Guns. That's what we export. Weapons.
Guns that you can't use in your country. Nice.
No, so we sell them off to people, and those people then do what they need with them, or sell them on the
I'll tell you what, we're not using British guns in California.
No, you have your, was it the first amendment right, or whatever it is?
That would be the Second Amendment, right?
Second Amendment. Thank you.
First one's a free speech one's the second one, so you can have that free speech, right?
First thing I did when I went and worked over in America last year is went straight down to the range with a couple of guys, and had one dude being like, why are you so good? Basically, I was just like, I thought I was ex-military, even though I nearly joined the military, but I just spend a lot of time playing computer games, mate. That's all. Nice. A lot of time playing computer games. At least I have the basic gun training from being a cadet. But when I walked in there, they were like, "How do you know pretty much 90% of the guns on the wall?" I was like,
"Oh yeah,
Daisy."
Oh yeah,
Daisy,
Daisy, baby.
I was gonna say
we had a series called Monday Z. Patrick watched me and our producer Doubting Thomas. We'll talk about it later, but yeah, it was pretty amazing. So
Nice.
Right. Patrick, got anything else to close this thing up?
No, actually, I was just looking up the Irish inflation rate there. It's 3.2% in the last 2015 to now.
Yeah.
Good comparison. Definitely a larger increase of inflation for us in comparison to Ireland.
I'm not even going to pull up the American numbers because I think I'll just get sad and want to cry in my beer.
Yeah,
so
let's not do that. let's finish on a high note.
Which you also have to remember, we export a lot of food, so we don't really import as much food as, say, the UK. So that's trying to drive the prices up there as well.
Right.
And here we've got this whole big push of farmers storming our capital because of inheritance tax and all these things that are going on. Like, it's not particularly being an English farmer, and I don't think there's a lot of British, enough. They're struggling to even hold onto their land.
Yeah.
That's another thing you can look into. There's so many different layers to it, dude. And Brexit was only, let's say, like a part of it, a way of setting the pace. It's really, you've got to look at the big picture to get any kind of.
So you think the Brexit was definitely the start of the slippery slope? Would you say, Jack?
100%. It felt like the beginning. And most people didn't recognize what was happening or the changes or anything, but you look at it now, 5 years later.
On top of that, the loss of your civil rights and all those things for safety was just
now it makes sense. Back then it didn't, now it does. Like,
we didn't kind of realize in the middle of lockdown what we were signing away.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. All right, we'd like to welcome Jack Smith to the program. Thank you so much for your bird's eye view from London. For Patrick McCallum, I am Alex Johansson. We are the A&P Gents. Subscribe, like, ring the bell, help us beat the algorithm. We're the A&P Gents, and we are out. Thanks, boys.